Part 51. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 501. Chapter 501 Conversation with Xia Yu. Xiaoling asks Xia Yu to meet. The sun was shining brightly at noon, and they met in a private room of a high-end Japanese restaurant. It was very quiet all around. Xia Yu is wearing a light haze-colored spring shirt, a Chanel handbag, and a light application of makeup. She looks good. On the other hand, Xiaoling has not recovered from her serious illness. Her originally delicate face is slightly pale, and her thin appearance is actually haggard. Xia Yu looked at her, in a good mood, and put her bag on the table. "Tell me, what do you want from me?" Xiaoling did not mince words. "You killed my child." She used an affirmative sentence, not a question. Xia Yu smiled slightly, as if she had expected that she would ask this question, and said lightly, "What evidence do you have?" "If you don't have evidence, you don't want slanderers with red lips and white teeth. By the way, I don't even know that little the baby is already dead. What a pity, haha." Xiaoling clenched the water glass in her hand and used all her self-control not to splash water on her. She had long expected that Xia Yu would not admit it so readily. In fact, Xiaoling was not sure whether it was Xia Yu who murdered the person. She composed herself and said in the calmest tone, "Xia Yu, stop pretending. You were the only one who came uninvited that day and sneaked into the villa to murder the baby." Xia Yu's expression remained calm as she said, "I was invited by Brother Zi Hung that day. I entered the villa just to look for him. Pei Xian didn't invite you at all." "Of course he won't tell you the truth," Xia Yu laughed. "If a man is dating other women outside, how can he be honest about being his wife?" Xiaoling's brows knitted into a knot, and she felt nauseous. "I had long known that Xia Yu was shameless, but I didn't expect that she would be so shameless and capable of saying such despicable words. If today, she was really a wife who loved Pei Xian deeply, she might be hurt by her words, just like she was in her previous life. It's a pity that Xia Yu doesn't know what the status of her marriage to Pei Xian is." "He won't date you," Xiaoling said categorically. "Stop making excuses. When you went to the villa, you entered the baby's room and threw the child into the trash can." Xia Yu felt a little unsure when she heard these details. Could it be that she had really found out that the murderer of the child was herself? However, Xia Yu would not admit it no matter what. This charge was too serious and constituted intentional homicide. What if Xiaoling had a recording pen or something like that on her body? If she confessed, would she be asking for trouble? "I don't understand what you are talking about," Xia Yu smiled softly. "Your child died, don't bite people, don't blame me. If you want to blame you for not being able to protect him. That's why you were abandoned by Brother Xian." The news that Xiaoling left the Pei family and returned to Lilei had already spread throughout the country at the fastest speed. At first, everyone scolded her, saying that she was a playboy, that she recognized money but not people, and that she deliberately planned to marry her son into a rich family. As soon as she found out that the Pei family was going to fall, she escaped alone as quickly as possible. But soon, these rumors will quickly die down. Soon, Xiaoling didn't realize she was being scolded, and all the scoldings disappeared. Xia Yu knew all this and guessed that Lilei had secretly helped her to settle the matter. She couldn't help but feel jealous in her heart. How could this be so good that she let two such excellent men protect her? Xia Yu's heart was unbalanced, and her words were even more harsh. "I just said that you are a loser. You have only been with Brother Xian for less than a year, and you killed his son. The harmful Emperor Company almost bankruptcy. You see, the Emperor came back to life as soon as you left. Brother Xian was right to divorce you. People like you are not worthy of being with him, let alone giving him a child. That child should die well." Her face showed a vicious, twisted smile of pleasure. When Xiaoling heard that she died one by one, She wanted to tear her mouth into pieces. She endured it again and again. Finally, she was still thinking about today's mission and asked coldly, "You really didn't kill my child?" "Why, could it be me?" Xiaoyu had a delicate appearance and a delicate tone, full of superiority. "Do you think I am a murderer? It's just that the child was so lucky that he couldn't even find out who the murderer was." She drank tea gracefully and chuckled again. "By the way, if you find the murderer, remember to tell me." Xiaoling had a face as cold as ice. She stopped talking to her, picked up her bag, and walked out of the restaurant. Outside the restaurant, there is a modified off-road vehicle waiting. Xiaoling got into the passenger seat of the car, her expression still ugly as if she wanted to eat someone. "This Xiaoyu," she threw her bag on the windshield and said viciously, "whether she killed the baby or not, I will never let her go." In response to the words she had just laughed at and ridiculed the baby, this hatred, it settled. In the driver's seat, Lilei was sitting. Lilei asked her, "Did you get the recording?" Xiaoling nodded, took out a recording pen from her pocket, and handed it to Lilei. She asked Lilei curiously, "What do you want this for?" She didn't admit anything, so it can't be used as evidence at all. "I don't want evidence," Lilei said while driving. "I just want to help you determine whether she killed the person." "How can we be sure based on this?" "You'll know when you get there." Lilei drove the car, took a road not often traveled, and arrived at a strange place. He helped Xiaoling get out of the car, walked through an alley, and walked through a narrow staircase into an underground base. The underground base is spacious and bright, and researchers with work badges hurriedly pass by from time to time. Xiaoling asked, "Where is this?" Lilei said, "I have a property in my name and do some interesting research." She had known for a long time that his family had a big business, but she didn't expect that he was even involved in black technology. He led her all the way in and came to a room. In the room, there was a researcher waiting. Lilei handed the recorder to him and said, "Jack, please analyze it and see if there are any lies in this conversation." Jack nodded, took the recorder, and inserted it into a sophisticated instrument. Soon after, the results of the analysis came out. He said, "One of the voices, the mother of the child, did not lie. The other voice told many lies. For example, she got the invitation letter through Zion's brother, and for example, she went to the inside of the villa was for a tryst, and the biggest lie was that she said she did not murder the child. There was more than 90% chance that the child was killed by her." "How do you know?" Xiaoling asked eagerly, "is this result accurate?" End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 502. Chapter 502, Shatter the Body or Jump to the Deck. Jack smiled, looked at her, and said, "This is the most advanced sonic lie detector in the world. Believe me, it hasn't made a mistake yet." Xiaoling had mixed feelings in her heart. It turned out that the murderer was really her own sister. I wonder if Xiaoyu would regret and feel guilty if she knew that she killed her nephew? No. She won't. As early as in her previous life, she could use such vicious words to attack her own sister, let alone her nephew. Xiaoling felt chills in her heart. She didn't expect that her sister, whom she had worked hard to support since childhood, would end up murdering the child she regarded as her treasure. She was so sad that she couldn't even stand firmly. She managed to hold onto the seat handle to steady her shaky body. "I'll help you get revenge." Lilei supported her, knowing that all words are pale now, and only revenge can slightly alleviate the pain in her heart. "How to repay?" Xiaoling raised her face and looked at him. It was inconvenient to speak in front of the researchers, so Lilei helped her out and then said, "It's very simple, kill for life." His words were cold, as if he had made countless killing decisions where she couldn't see her. There is a strong indifference. He made her feel a little strange, but she felt at ease. But, I don't want you to take revenge, she said. Why? Li Lei lowered his head and looked at her. Xiaoling said slowly, if you die, everything will be over. That would be too cheap for her. I don't want her to die quietly. I want her to feel the same pain as when I lost everything. That is the hatred of 2 lifetimes. In her last life, during her most difficult time, Xiaoyu humiliated and ridiculed her mercilessly, adding salt to her wounds, making her almost lose the courage to live. This life was even more outrageous. Xiaoyu directly murdered her little baby. The poor child only came into this world for 100 days, and just like that, disappeared forever. The heart-piercing pain. She wanted Xiaoyu to feel that kind of pain. Li Lei was startled for a moment, then smiled, that's fine, if there's anything you need me to do, just ask. Xiaoling sometimes looks silly and too kind, but in fact, Li Lei has always had a faint worry in his heart. Such a kind-hearted woman, how should she face the violence and bloodshed after marrying into the Li family? But now, he is no longer worried. His Xiaoling knows when to give in and when to be ruthless. Maybe it was the death of her child that gave her courage, but no matter what, she already had the conditions to survive in the Li family. He is very happy. Xiaoling didn't know what he was thinking, she just said, I want her crimes to be exposed in the sun, and I want her to be ruined and brought to justice. It's easy to lose your reputation, Li Lei said, but it's a little troublesome to bring him to justice. Do you want to go to the police station to report the crime? The crime scene is in the Pei family villa, which requires Pei Ziyan to cooperate with the investigation. If he doesn't cooperate, even if in theory the police can, there are many twists and turns in collecting evidence by force. In addition, so much time has passed and the child's body has been cremated, so it may not be possible to find out anything. Polygraph tests cannot be used as evidence. Even if they now know that the murderer is Xiaoyu, there is no evidence to arrest her. Xiaoling was silent for a moment and said, I have to give it a try. Li Lei accompanied her to the police station to report the case, which involved the 2 biggest forces in the city, celebrities and human lives. The police were immediately alerted and took the case seriously, and went to the Pei family villa to investigate the case that day. This incident made Pei Ziyan very unhappy. I don't like people intruding on my territory, he said calmly, looking at Xiaoling and Li Lei who came with the police, there won't be any results. Li Lei was a little surprised, your own child died, and you don't care. Pei Ziyan looked at him deeply, a sarcastic smile slowly appeared on his lips, and turned around to leave. Xiaoling was so shocked by his smile that she was afraid that he would tell the truth when he got angry. Fortunately, he was such a proud person, and even if he failed in the shopping mall and in love, he would not give others the chance to make things worse. About the child's life experience, he and Xiaoling had a tacit agreement to remain silent. The police searched the villa and found nothing. The group of people went back home in frustration. Li Lei comforted Xiaoling and said, it's okay. The investigation takes time. Take your time. Xiaoling nodded slightly, that was all. However, more than a month later, there is still no progress. The Pei family's vitality is recovering, and the oppression of the Feng Shui array has been removed. Pei Ziyan's ability and skills are not inferior to Li Lei, and in a very short period of time, he has restored a huge business empire at an alarming speed. Although the damage caused by this holy war was staggering, the current emperor was only slightly inferior to Tianyi in terms of scale. Li Lei, on the other hand, even though he said he would not take advantage of the imperial master, the Feng Shui formation still allowed him to take advantage of the situation and become the #1 force in the city's business community. The 2 major forces are vaguely competing against each other. The police said to Xiaoling, we will do our best to solve the case, but Mr. Pei is not cooperating. The 2 crime scenes, the baby room and the garbage dump, have been severely damaged, and there is no residual evidence. The process of solving the case will be very difficult. You have to be mentally prepared for a long-term battle. Xiaoling was very anxious. She watched Xiaoyu make various announcements and enjoy herself in various activities. Her face was radiant while talking, laughing, and looking forward. She thought that her life was extremely comfortable. She didn't want to watch the murderer live happily anymore. She said to Li Lei, "I will use my own method to retaliate against her." Li Lei regained his energy and asked her, "Shred the body or jump off the deck." "I know a lot of friends on the high seas who are engaged in this kind of business. If I trick Xiaoyu out, I'm sure not even the bones will be left. He never don't do this kind of murderous and illegal things in the country." Grandpa said that it is not easy for China to be what it is today. We must maintain a society governed by the rule of law. He has always listened to his grandfather's words, especially knowing that his grandfather is old and looking forward to returning to his roots after falling leaves, and does not want his family to disrupt the order of his hometown. Xiaoling gave him a blank look, cheating to go abroad. "Don't you think it's troublesome?" Li Lei felt aggrieved. The ancestral motto of our Li family is not to violate laws and disciplines in the country. Otherwise, why do you think that for generations, the Li family has only been the largest overseas Chinese force, and no one except me is interested in the country? Because there's no way they can do underworld business here. Xiaoling was dumbfounded when she heard this. She didn't expect that there was such a hidden secret. She suddenly remembered something. Then so many people outside are afraid of you, saying that if you kill this person today, you will kill that person tomorrow, and you will cut off your hands and feet at every turn. What's the matter? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 503. Chapter 503 Temporary Substitution. Classmate Li Xiaoli smiled triumphantly. "Isn't that easy? Those who come out to fool around must of course be a bit of a deterrent. The wider these rumors spread, the easier it will be for me." Xiaoling couldn't laugh or cry. It turned out that when she was first reborn, although she owed Tianyi training camp a large amount of money, she could definitely repudiate the debt, right? It's a pity that because she was afraid of being retaliated by the mafia, she honestly made her debut and got involved in the entertainment industry. If I just defaulted on the debt and walked away, would everything be different? However, thinking about this problem now is in vain. She discussed the matter with Li Lei about Xiaoyu. It would be too easy for her to kill people and cut their bodies into pieces. I said that I want to ruin her reputation, so let her be ruined first. Let's wait until this step is completed for other things. Well, wait until her reputation is ruined before killing her and cutting her corpse into pieces. Classmate Li Xiaoli made up his mind. It is also difficult to discredit Xiaoyu. It is heartbreaking to let her die and lose everything she cherishes. Xiaoling actually doesn't quite understand what the sister values about two things, Pei Xian and her music career. As for the former, Xiaoling can't get involved at the moment. Anyway, Pei Xian isn't interested in Xiaoyu, so he can ignore it for the time being. As for the music career, Xiaoyu is now prosperous and very proud. Xiaoling decided to trample her severely on the battlefield of the entertainment industry. There is a chance. Li Lei flipped through the latest notice list and said, "The Tianlai Music Festival will be coming soon, and Xiaoyu will participate in the group competition, and you can slap her hard in the face at that time. By the way, Xiaoling, you haven't appeared in the music scene for nearly a year, and you haven't released any new works. You can use this music festival to revive your popularity and climb to a height that Xiaoyu can't reach as soon as possible." Li Lei has great confidence in Xiaoling. He is blindly optimistic about the woman he likes, as if there is no one in the world who can sing better than her. Xiaoling came to his side, held his shoulders and looked at the announcement list with him, and nodded. This is a good opportunity. She had a nice shower gel fragrance on her body. Ever since she was pregnant and had a baby, I don't use much perfume or anything like powder, and I don't even apply makeup very much. I'm more and more returning to nature. He liked her natural look. He held her in his arms with his long arms and enjoyed this rare quiet time. She nuzzled into his arms and suddenly said, "Look," she pointed at the notice form with her finger, "the registration time has ended, what should I do?" "Let's go through the back door," Lilei said matter-of-factly. Xiaoling gave him a big roll of her eyes. "I've been thinking about going through the back door and opening the golden finger all day long. If you just stuff me into the music festival so carelessly, won't the others have any objections? There have been enough rumors about her recently, and she doesn't want to add this one to the list." Lilei didn't care. "So what? You are my woman, it's normal to have some privileges." After saying that, he secretly kissed her ear. Well, her skin was a little tenderer than when she just came back. "I also gained some flesh." Boss is very satisfied with his results. When it comes to feeding his girlfriend, he should feed her like a pig. Poor classmate Xiaoling didn't know what he was thinking. He flipped through the notice sheet and retrieved detailed information about the Tianlai Music Festival. Double Promotion Group. She looked at this, her eyes suddenly brightened. "Bai Murong and his partner, it doesn't say who his partner is, can I sneak in as his partner?" Lilei also took a look at the watch. This is a qualifying competition before the official opening of the music festival. Every year, the music festival is full of participating singers. Except for the most popular singers, other singers may not be able to participate even if they sign up. So there is this qualifier system, where two people work in groups and compete with other groups for a spot. If you win, two people in the same group will be shortlisted together. If you lose, both people will be eliminated together. Later on, many large companies developed a strategy to allow a popular superstar-level figure who is bound to be selected to participate with a singer who may not be selected. This is equivalent to using the strength of a popular superstar to help another singer be shortlisted. The organizers turned a blind eye to this, because this strategy also greatly increased the topic and popularity of the qualifiers, which the organizers liked to see. For example, this time, on Tianyi's side, Bai Murong participated with a young singer. Lilei said, "It's very simple. I just ask them to leave this partner's spot to you." "What about the original partner?" After Xiaoling said this, she felt that she was a bit hypocritical. She clearly promised not to go through the back door, but she went over to steal someone's spot, and she pretended to be worried about what they would do. Lilei also laughed at her hypocrisy. "Cunning little fox." She said nonchalantly, "I can give a few more of my good announcements to the person being replaced. If he is not as good as me, I can also support him. I just want to go to the music festival to compete with Xiaoyu. A small thing like this, it's better to go through the back door at a larger scale than blatantly go through the organizers and tell the world. This is true. It is much more low-key to replace a qualifier spot from within your own company." Lilei stopped laughing at her and said, "The preliminaries are today. We're running out of time. Hurry, let's go there now." He pulled Xiaoling into the car and drove at a fast pace. She didn't forget to make a phone call. "Sister Maina, I brought Xiaoling back to you. Are you surprised?" No, I'm calling you at this time. I have absolutely no intention of being uneasy and well-intentioned. I just have something troublesome." He crackled and explained the cause and effect to Sister Maina. On the other end of the phone, Sister Maina was a little confused. However, as a leading agent in the industry, she quickly grasped the point. "You mean, Xiaoling has returned to Tianyi and wants me to continue to be her agent?" Human. Moreover, she wants to participate in this qualifying competition and reject Bai Murong's partner's spot. "Yes, that's it," Lilei smiled. "Sister Maina, it's up to you." Sister Maina cursed on the phone. Lilei, you pig. Did you become stupid after you and Xiaoling stayed together for a long time? Do you know who Bai Murong is partnering with this time? Zhou Yuja. Zhou Yuja. She is notoriously difficult to deal with. Why didn't you tell me earlier that she was going to be on stage in an hour? Why did you leave such a big problem to me? Lilei felt a little guilty. Xiaoling has just come back. If I can't even help her with this little thing. Sister Maina sighed heavily and rubbed her forehead. I understand. Remember to give me a salary increase later. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 504. Chapter 504 Matching of Men and Women. Hang up the phone. Xiaoling stared at Lilei dumbfounded. She hadn't seen him for a long time. He was good at being cute. It used to take 3 minutes to solve Sister Maina's problem, but now he can solve it perfectly in 1 minute. It's simply amazing. However, being a boss is really pitiable for being such a mess. Xiaoling decided to treat him better in the future. The off-road vehicle drove near the qualifying venue. Instead of going in directly, it made a small circle at the back door and found a secluded place to stop. Not far away, there is a nanny car. A person got out of the nanny's car. It was Sister Maina. Today, she is still wearing a smart business attire, her makeup is exquisite and perfect, and she has a fierce aura. Compared with the delicate and peaceful Xiaoling on the off-road vehicle, she looks like the one below is a big star. Get off. Lilei had just caused a big trouble for Sister Maina. Now he was a little scared when he saw her. He coaxed Xiaoling to get out of the car very unreasonably. There are many reporters nearby, so I won't go down with you. Be careful yourself. Xiaoling didn't know what he was thinking, so she turned her head slightly and gave him a goodbye kiss. Mr. Boss was flattered. He pressed the corners of his lips stupidly and watched her get out of the car. It is already late spring, and the wind outside carries the fragrance of flowers. Xiaoling looked at the oncoming Sister Maina, opened her hands, and gave her a big hug. Sister Maina, her voice was soft and waxy, and she had a sweet body fragrance, just like a soft and cute little animal. The moment Sister Maina saw her, her heart melted. She suddenly couldn't tell any of the many questions she had originally planned for questioning. She couldn't bear to ask her what happened during this period. How could she come back so easily? Not saying hello in advance. Sister Maina sighed in her heart. It seems that the boss became stupid when she and Xiaoling were together, but Xiaoling became smarter and acted cute. She rubbed Xiaoling's long hair lovingly and said, "Go in." Accompanied Xiaoling into the qualifying venue. The venue was full of people coming and going, and it was very lively. Sister Maina had an excellent sense of direction. She quickly identified Bai Murong's lounge and led Xiaoling all the way there. It was originally decided that Yuja would be the one, but why did she suddenly say that she was going to change it and that she should be Yexingling? Is it such a joke for Bai Murong to partner with someone? Before he even reached the lounge, he heard someone arguing at the door. The voice was vaguely familiar. Xiaoling thought about it for a few seconds and then remembered that it was Zhou Yuja's manager. The manager's voice was sharp and sharp. She, Yexingling, wants to participate temporarily. Who can she blame if there is no quota? Why should we Yuja sacrifice and compromise? Beside her, a group of people tried to comfort her with kind words. Sister Maina and Xiaoling had already reached the corner. When she heard the argument, she couldn't help but frown her slender eyebrows and said to Xiaoling, "Just wait here, I'll go take a look." She turned around and walked up to the other party. "Sister Lu, we are all in the same company. Who doesn't need help when there is an emergency? This time, Xiaoling has a special reason. Thank you for your help. I will keep it in mind. If your Yuja needs anything in the future, just come to me." You, the person named Sister Lu laughed sharply. Just because you brought Yexin Ling, she transferred not long after her debut, caused a lot of messy news outside, and came back after having no way out. With her kind of character and such level, what can be done for our family to ask for? I said, Maina, you have to get this bad check. She's so beautiful. This Sister Lu is an old person in the company. She is used to relying on her elders. She dares to say anything and doesn't take anyone seriously. Sister Maina's face changed slightly. Sister Lu, what you said is wrong. She wanted to say something else, but Xiaoling had already walked out of the corner. Yexin Ling, someone whispered. Everyone's eyes turned around and looked at Xiaoling, who was not far away. Xiaoling had just turned the corner and had heard the conversation clearly. At this time, she looked directly at Sister Lu coldly. Maybe my character, Yexin Ling, is not very good, but now I am working in Tianyi, I am in the same boat as you, and I know that I will give you a quota and give you several announcements that are not lower than this level and exposure. Maybe my popularity, Yexin Ling, is not that good, but it was only half a year after my debut. I won the Best Newcomer award, and so far, every single has been on the best-selling list. My manager, Sister Mai Na, may not be a big manager, but she once promoted a diva. Just 3 or 5 popular singers. What I'm more curious about is, what was it like when Senior Zhou Yuja debuted, and how are her singles selling now? As for Sister Lu, have you ever produced a king or a queen? Her words were sharp. Sister Lu didn't expect to be ridiculed by a female singer in front of her like this. She was so angry that she was shaking all over. She glared at Xiaoling fiercely, wanting to rush up and slap her twice. Xiaoling was not afraid. Although she doesn't like to engage in boring verbal disputes with others, in the industry, as long as someone bullies her, she will never give in. Just now, she was furious as she watched Sister Maina, who had always been as arrogant as a queen, swallow her anger for her. Why can these cats and dogs bully her agent? Xiaoling, Sister Maina glared at her, how are you talking? Xiaoling didn't look at her and continued to look at Sister Lu opposite her without giving an inch. Sister Lu's subordinates have not only never produced a queen, they have not even produced a decent singer. They are just relying on their seniority to get by day. Now being ridiculed by Xiaoling, her face turned pale and white, which was very exciting. Okay, Yexin Ling, you have the ability. Sister Lu was so angry that she was trembling as she spoke. If you have the ability, don't rush for this spot. It's nothing to interfere with me. Zhao Zhengcheng, please say something. The last half of the sentence was said to a man beside her. Xiaoling recognized that the man was Bai Murong's agent. Xiaolu, Maina, Zhao Zhengcheng is older and leads Bai Murong, who is at the height of his power. He speaks calmly, we are all in the same company, why bother so much? This matter was arranged by the boss. There is nothing you can do. Xiaolu, please be a little aggrieved and give in. We will all treat it as a support for the younger generation. His words were expressed in words, although he was trying to persuade Sister Lu, but they also revealed some dissatisfaction with the company's arrangements. Even if Zhou Yuja is not named queen, she has not won the best female singer, but she is a very popular figure recently, and she is a perfect match for Bai Murong. As for Xiaoling, who came out of nowhere, even though she has gained a lot of fame recently, she has been rumored about some messy scandals and has not released any serious music for a long time. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 505. Chapter 505, Working for the Boss. Being on the same stage as Bai Murong will somewhat lower his status. No wonder Zhao Zhengcheng is unhappy. Xiaoling has been in the entertainment industry for many years. When did she ever receive such anger? Isn't it just a small qualifying spot, and is it worthy of such a battle? If it weren't for stepping on Xiaoyu, she wouldn't care at all. Thinking of this, she said coldly, since everyone feels embarrassed, then she wanted to forget it, and then she went directly to the music festival organizer to open a back door. Although it would be more controversial, in the arena competition you can crush your opponent, advance to the end, and regain your place. So many people are gathered here. What happened? Suddenly, a pleasant female voice came, cutting off her words. Everyone turned to look and saw that it was Sutang, wearing an elegant silk satin dress, holding a camellia handbag, standing by the door with shoulder-length hair, a delicate face with an indifferent smile. Assistant Sutii, everyone moved to make room for her to pass. Another smart person brought a glass of water to her, and there was a rush. Sutang is different from Xiaoling. She has been Li Lei's special assistant for a long time and her position is stable. And Xiaoling? Although there are rumors that she has recently returned to the boss, for a woman who was once abandoned by the boss and married, no one thinks that she and the boss will last long. Hence, they were much more enthusiastic about Sutang than Xiaoling. Xiaoling has met Sutang many times. Every time she was at Li Lei's place, she thought she was an elegant, smart, and intelligent woman. She really didn't know she had such pomp and airs in front of others. What's strange is that they had a fight with Li Lei not long ago, so why does Sutang seem to be fine when he sees her now? Assistant Sutii, why did the wind bring you here? I didn't tell you in advance so that I could send someone out to pick you up. Even Zhao Zhengcheng had a sincere smile on his face. I was passing by here to do some errands for the boss. I remembered that today is the qualifier of the music festival, so I stopped by to have a look. Why, you're not welcome, there was a distant smile in Sutang's pale amber eyes. Welcome, welcome, people present said one after another that she was the boss's special assistant, who dared to offend her. Sutang's eyes flickered and he looked at Xiaoling in the crowd. Yes, Xingling, I heard that you will be partnered with Bai Murong in this qualifier? Why are you still standing here and not going in to prepare? Xiaoling was stunned for a moment. Thinking of the dispute just now, she was still very unhappy, since Sister Lu and Uncle Zhao are so unhappy. I'm happy, Zhao Zhengcheng cut off her words with a smile on his face. Xiaoling, really, what are you talking about? I'm trying to persuade Xiao Lu. You have just returned to Tianyi, and you are the most topical one. It's a good time to partner with Murong, right, Xiaolu? Sister Lu looked extremely ugly, but she refrained from getting angry. She glanced at Sutang and said stiffly, Yuja has to go to the show in the evening. If nothing happens, I will take her away first. She actually said that she would not argue anymore. These people can change their faces faster than they can turn the pages of a book. Sutang smiled lightly, since Sister Lu has something to do, go and get busy. Sister Lu gave Xiaoling a fierce look, turned around and left. Sister Meina also said goodbye to Sutang and pulled Xiaoling into the dressing room. You're crazy, there were only two of them in the dressing room. Sister Meina closed the door, returned to her true self, and opened her mouth to scold. What did you want to say just now? Did you quit? And the person named Lu who was ridiculing you earlier? What about that scene with Zhou Yuja? Why are you so determined to offend people with just one mouthful? I just can't get angry. Xiaoling said weakly. You're a pig. She couldn't help scolding Xiaoling, and after falling behind, she said, fortunately, Sutang came to help you support the show, otherwise you would have disturbed the quotas that have been agreed today. Sutang is here to help me support the show, Xiaoling was surprised. Otherwise you think she's too full to hold on, Sister Meina hated the iron. Sutang only did one thing in the company, and that was to listen to Li Lei. If Li Lei hadn't told her to come over, when would you seeing that she had nothing to do, she ran to the scene. When did she go to see any artist? Besides, she and Bai Murong are not familiar with each other. It's all an excuse. Xiaoling then realized that she had been helped by Li Lei again. But, But, Xiaoling said, I just had a quarrel with Sutang, and I even encouraged Li Lei to transfer her position. Sister Mena was stunned for a moment, then reached out and tapped her forehead. You really dare to ask for anything? Sutang was sent to the boss by Mr. Li, and you actually asked the boss to transfer people away. Can the boss agree? If you agree, you are disobeying the old man. But, he promised me, Xiaoling said weakly. Sister Mena. She was really impressed by this girl. She had great magical powers, and she fascinated the boss so much that she dared to agree to any request. After a moment of silence, he said, then have you ever thought about the old man? If you make such a fuss, how can the old man like you? The old man of the Li family already dislikes Xiaoling, but now he can't think of her as a vixen. Xiaoling's mood was a little low. He didn't want to see me anyway. Sister Mena was speechless again. This little girl looks pretty and pretty. She is definitely not eye-catching in the entertainment industry where there are so many beauties. Why is it that everyone she messes with is not easy? She thought about it and understood why Sutang came over. The old man dotes on the boss. If the boss really wants to transfer Sutang away, even if the old man is angry, he will not really do anything to his grandson. So, Sutang, you can't rely on the old man, you can only ask the boss to change his mind. And the boss should know what you want, so Sutang is here to help you and increase his favorability in front of you. Xiaoling was stunned when she heard this. So complicated. Otherwise, why do you think she would help you? Sister Mena simply sighed. How did this little girl who never had an IQ live to be so old? Sister Ma Na changed the subject and continued to scold Xiaoling. Besides, do you have any self-consciousness as an artist? A group of managers are quarreling. Why do you get in the way? Why don't you be more reserved and pay attention to your identity? Look at Zhou Yuja and Bai Murong. Have you seen them from the beginning to the end? They all know how to protect their image and avoid such situations. Even if they get involved, they still quarrel. I just want to help you. Under Sister Mena's murderous gaze, Xiaoling's voice became smaller and smaller. Sister Mena sighed in frustration. Why don't you make any progress after going out for a while? You're so stupid then, she said viciously. When I negotiate with people in the future, you are not allowed to interrupt, do you hear me? Xiaoling nodded as if pounding garlic. Sister Mena finally calmed down a bit and asked Xiaoling to pour her tea. She drank it all in one gulp and returned to her usual capable and arrogant self. She stood up from her seat, stepped on her high heels, and went out to find a stylist for her. Xiaoling was left alone in the dressing room. Not long after, she heard a knock on the door. She turned her head and saw Bai Murong's slender figure leaning against the door, with a charming smile on her eyes and eyebrows. Hi, we meet again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weining. Chapter 506. Chapter 506, Fatal Attraction. All artists have outstanding looks, but Bai Murong is especially good looking. Xiaoling looked at his face that confounded all living beings. She hadn't seen him for a long time. He still had phoenix eyes, thin lips, and his eyes seemed to be smiling but not smiling. He just stood in a random posture, and it was like a hard photo taken by a famous artist. Impeccable. No wonder he is the prince in the dreams of thousands of fans. The charming prince walked towards Xiaoling. You don't even smile when you see me? Xiaoling, you are still the same, you have not changed, you have always been so cold. Xiaoling said, I am a showman, not a laugher. Bai Murong actually laughed out loud. Are you still angry? Uncle Zhao and Sister Lu were a little dissatisfied with the change of commanders before the battle, which is normal. Besides, This time my partner is going to sing on the same stage as me. Time is tight now and the song is difficult. It's so high, you don't know how many people are anxious to get angry, and how many people are waiting to see our jokes. Bring it. What? Music score. Baimurong understood, turned around and pulled out a roll of music scores and handed it to Xiaoling. Don't force it. Although the repertoire cannot be changed, you can always delete the proportion. Originally, there were several sections sung by your partner. If you can't sing it, sing less, just a few words of meaning will do. Xiaoling lowered her head and looked at the music score. It was his recently popular hit song Meet Your Opponent. It was indeed difficult, but that was for others. As for Xiaoling, she sang difficult and skillful songs for 10 years in her previous life, and her voice has been perfectly adapted to her voice in this life. Now she is faced with this music score. This piece of music is not as high in vocal range as in her previous life, and the technique is not as complex as the songs in her previous life. It is more than easy to perform with ease. She silently read the score several times and returned it to Baimurong. Baimurong was a little stunned. Have you finished reading? It's over. He didn't believe it. Sing a few lines and listen. Xiaoling glanced at him and sang the song from beginning to end. The sound was melodious and melodious, like the sound of nature. Baimurong looked at her as if she were a monster. After a long while, he whistled and smiled again. I underestimate you. No wonder the company insists on making you my partner. Zhou Yuji's loss this time is not unjust. Xiaoling thought of Zhou Yuji's manager's angry eyes, and she must have been in a bad mood. Seeing Xiaoling's expression, Baimurong guessed what she was thinking, and smiled lazily. Are you guilty? Don't worry, the company will never mistreat anyone with temporary arrangements like this, and will definitely help her make up for a better one. Notice. This is the minimum. In fact, Li Lei and she have both promised that they will definitely help Zhou Yuji make up more than one announcement. Xiaoling said, I don't feel guilty. Baimurong sighed softly and said no more. He took Xiaoling to rehearse several times first, and when the time was up, he took the lead in taking the stage. It is said to be a two-person team, but because of this model of a superstar and a small star, the priority has been interpreted early. Usually, the unwritten rule is that the superstar comes on stage to sing a song first, and then the two perform on the stage in the second performance. In the third performance, another superstar's solo show. In the best of 3 games, many young stars just go through the motions and win. Xiaoling stayed backstage to do some styling, and heard the deafening cheers on the field. Sister Mai Na and Zhao Zhengcheng came to see her, and Zhao Zhengcheng said, Xiaoling, don't be nervous, just sing as you normally would. Don't feel pressure just because you are paired with Murong. Xiaoling allowed herself to be manipulated by the stylist and said calmly, I'm not under any pressure. He understood what he meant. He was afraid that her singing would ruin Baimurong's reputation, so for her, he didn't seek merit but sought no fault. Unfortunately, he thought about it, it may not be her who is under pressure, maybe it is Baimurong. When Xiaoling came on stage, the lights changed and it was dazzling. Baimurong wore a white satin shirt with a long hem and a slanted hem. The glaze earrings on her left ear were shining. Following the prelude, he stretched out his hand towards her. There was an uninhibited smile on his handsome face, like a prodigal prince in myths and legends. His devilish temptation caused louder and louder screams. Xiaoling slipped and slid forward, leaning against his arm to the front of the stage. She raised her head slightly, letting the light shine on her face. Yexingling, it's Yexingling, sporadic shouts rang out from the audience. She hasn't appeared on stage for a long time. Even though news has been flying all over the place during this period, it is still just love gossip and not serious business in the music industry. Being pregnant and giving birth for more than a year has really caused her popularity to decline. Baimurong's charming singing voice sounded, it was destined from the beginning that there is no winner or loser in this game. You treat love as a chess game, turning your hands to make clouds and rain, joys and sorrows, carving eternal time. With the singing, the screams in the audience became even crazier. Countless people shouted the name of Bai Murong, and in an instant, they covered up the scattered Yasin Ling just now. I have to admit that Bai Murong is a singer with great live appeal. His aura on stage is astonishingly strong, full of seduction and provocation, like a vortex that can in everything around him. If another singer were on the same stage with him, they would probably be reduced to a foil, but the person he met today was Xiaoling. Xiaoling doesn't care whose home venue it is. When she gets on the stage, she only has one thing to do: make the music the best she can. Since the song is called Meeting the Opponent in Chess, it needs to be sung with emotion, not to mention her stage performance is only better than his. She raised the microphone and her voice was erratic, as if walking through the fog. It was destined from the beginning that this game has no ending. You use love as a weapon, tenderness as calculation, true and false, and painstaking efforts. The singing style is different from his, but it is another fatal attraction. The audience was silent for a moment. Yasin Ling. Yasin Ling, the screams started again. Bai Murong glanced sideways at her, with a hint of deep meaning on his half-smiling face, and his singing voice raised a few notches. It's a game where you meet your opponent, it's destined to be entangled. Xiaoling also looked at him, their eyes intertwined as the lights turned, and she heard the screams from the audience getting louder and louder. Maybe I just want to go out with you, and there is no return. His singing voice rose all the way. There is no return, crisscrossing is a trap. Her singing voice is swirling and confusing. There is no regret in making a move, whose fate is twisted between whose fingers. His smile is becoming more and more dangerous and enchanting, and his singing voice is becoming more and more charming, with a thrilling flavor that is both stunning and breathtaking. He is worthy of being the best male singer for 2 consecutive years and a popular lover of the public. The strength he unleashed at this moment is beyond the reach of most singers in their lifetimes. Singing together on stage is both cooperation and competition. Often at this time, singers will have a more intuitive experience of the singing skills of their partners, which is much deeper than when they stand in the audience and listen to each other's singing. Xiaoling sang, her mind drifting away, and Bai Murong beside her was full of tension, as if weaving a seductive and depraved love web. She could almost create her own world. She had never discovered before that Bai Murong had such a profound background. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 507. Chapter 507 Breaking Through the Limits. Xiaoling's eyes narrowed slightly, and a flash of deep thought flashed through her eyes. Determined to see where his limit was, Xiaoling's singing changed and was inserted into his solo section, forming a duet. Look at the black and white pieces intertwined and fighting silently. They didn't dare to look back along the way for fear of the mess behind them. The lyrics are still the same, but the melody is an improvisation outside the score, lingering around his main melody like a shadow, seemingly harmonious, but pressing harder and murderous at every step. If Bai Murong didn't respond and continued to sing according to the original singing method, he would be drowned by Xiaoling's melody after just a few lines. He suddenly turned around to look at her, with a fleeting look of surprise and a hint of anger in his eyes. Xiaoling looked directly at him, raised the corners of her lips, smiled, and slowed down her singing by half a beat. This was a challenge. If he couldn't catch it, she would naturally not cause trouble for him on the stage. This branch, slowly, just hold it in slowly. Bai Murong was stunned for a moment, but soon he also smiled, and his singing voice also changed its tone. Look at the pairs of lovers clinging to each other happily and sweetly, but I am the only one standing alone on the street and I can't figure out your sincerity. Below the stage, the screams almost lifted the roof. Xiaoling chuckled, that's good, since he is the type who gets braver as he fights, she doesn't have to be polite. The singing continues to advance. As expected, Baimurong did not show weakness and resolved every move he saw. Although it became increasingly difficult, he did not flinch at all. The singing is melodious, sometimes sonorous, suddenly strange, sometimes high-pitched, unpredictable, and touching. The more she sang, the more Xiaoling felt that he was a rare singer. He had great talent, aura, and good strength. He had a profound and eclectic background. Although he was only a smash hit pop king at the moment, if he left talking less about the direction can make it a classic for 20 years. Xiaoling went from being curious at the beginning to wanting to help him. Speed up the tempo, forcing him harder and harder. However, whenever he really couldn't resist, she would relax her attack, leaving him some breathing space, and even deliberately made a gap to guide his forward direction. He did not disappoint her. From the initial embarrassment, he became more and more calm. Gradually, it was like a war with an opponent. In the last brilliant part, Xiaoling pushed him all the way to a dead end. He had no way to retreat. In a flash of inspiration, he broke through the limit. The closing part was sung both illusory and real, just like the sound of a dream coming to the world. The ultimate perfection. At the end of the song, he took a graceful bow, and the audience burst into thunderous applause that lasted for a long time. Baimurong straightened up, and when he turned to look at Xiaoling, a hint of gloom quickly passed through his eyes. Xiaoling's heart skipped a beat when he saw him, and she hurriedly ran away. He said to Sister Maina anxiously, "Quick, pack your things, let's go quickly." Sister Maina was puzzled. "What are you doing in such a hurry?" The little girl still can't calm down. "You are a star. Do you understand stars? Have you ever seen any star like you? Hurry up, it's too late," Xiaoling kept urging. How could she not be in a hurry? The way Baimurong looked at her on the stage just now was like a hunter eyeing his prey. If she doesn't leave quickly, she won't be able to leave later. Who knows, if heaven does not fulfill people's wishes, whatever they are afraid of will happen. Xiaoling hasn't even stepped out of the dressing room door, but over there, Baimurong has already left. "Yeah, seeing, Ling," he read out her name word by word, with a smile of unknown meaning on the corners of his beautiful lips. His slender figure stood in front of the dressing room door, calmly, like a beautiful tree facing the wind. Xiaoling felt a little headache. Baimurong relied on his being a big name and cleared the air in a few words. He invited everyone out of the dressing room. Even Sister Ma Na glanced at the two of them with interest and ignored Xiaoling's plea for help. With his eyes, Shi Shiren left. Not long after, Xiaoling and him were left alone in the dressing room. "If you have anything to do, tell me," Xiaoling sighed resignedly. He narrowed his eyes and looked at her. "I can't tell. I haven't seen you sing for more than a year. You are very good at singing. You are becoming more and more arrogant. You dare to provoke even me, huh? It's not an exaggeration to describe it as bold. I was singing smoothly, but accidentally I went off key," she explained with a fake smile. "Brother Bai, you don't remember the faults of others." "Accidentally out of tune," Baimurong laughed angrily. "You are out of tune, but it sounds better than the original score. Why can't I get it just right?" "Me? Forget it, don't make excuses." He waved his hand impatiently, sat down on the sofa, crossed his legs, and said casually, "Yes, Ling, your typhoon reminds me of a person." "Who?" "Xiaoling. Too many people say I look like her. I'm numb. Could you please change some new words? Brother Xiaoling is a dead pig now and is not afraid of boiling water. Anyway, even Pei Xian recognizes who she is. It's up to her to pretend that way. She really wasn't that nervous in front of other people." Baimurong said, "I didn't think so before, but now that I've thought about it carefully, I found that you really look alike." Xiaoling also likes to improvise on stage and change her singing tune randomly. This ability is really not something that ordinary people can have. She is my idol, I imitate her, she has used this excuse to no avail. Anyway, she is her own idol and there is no shame in it. Ha Baimurong chuckled, I forgot that you used to sing Butterfly in the Cage so expressively. It happened 800 years ago, it's hard for Baimurong to still remember it. Xiaoling nodded and tried to be as understated as possible. Baimurong changed the subject, although I was unhappy at first when you changed your singing style, you actually changed it well. In the past few months, I have been stuck in a bottleneck and have been unable to break through. Today I was defeated by you on stage. After a while, I gained a new understanding. Coincidence, coincidence, Xiaoling laughed dryly. He looked at her inquiringly, is it really just a coincidence? Of course it's a coincidence, I'm just a little star who hasn't sung for more than a year. How can I have the ability to specifically stimulate your potential? He looked at her carefully again, and after a while, he smiled, that's right, I worry too much. But no matter what, I want to thank you. You're welcome. Xiaoling breathed a sigh of relief and picked up the cup to drink water. His next words made her hands tremble and she almost spilled the water. Yes, Yingling, when you sang duet with me on the stage just now, you didn't give your best. The tone was affirmative. Why is this person so sharp? Is it over yet? Xiaoling resisted the urge to roll her eyes, regretting that she had helped him break through the bottleneck. She secretly told herself to be calm, and don't be anxious. She raised her eyes and looked at him half seriously. Yeah, I didn't try my best. If only I had tried my best. If you try your best, you won't be able to sing chess meets your opponent. Then what to sing? He was curious. A lonely man seeks defeat, a master is lonely, and he fights with each other. This time, it was his turn to roll his eyes at her, end the conversation mercifully, and let her out. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 508. Chapter 508 Meeting Wei Shaiyin. The song Meeting an Opponent in Chess with Baimurong quickly spread across the internet and became popular. The singing styles of the two are quite evenly matched, full of a sense of danger and ambiguous tension, which is thrilling to hear. Many comments said that this is the real match. Unexpectedly, such amazing works have been leaked before the official opening of this music festival. Tianyi, Recording Studio Building. Sister Meina accompanied Xiaoling and walked slowly along the corridor. The midday sun shone through the sky garden and large expanses of glass, making it bright and warm. Xiaoling wore a light-colored dress, flat shoes, and only a light layer of powder and makeup on her face. She looked peaceful and beautiful with no makeup. At this time, her mood was not peaceful and good at all. While walking, he shouted, "Ouch, ouch." Sister Meina held her arm and scolded her, "I also admire you and the boss. They are indeed a couple. Both of them have such big hearts. Why did you go to participate in something even though you knew that your stomach injury was not fully healed? In the preliminaries, you even made a high pitch with Baimurong. You deserve it. Can you still heal from this wound?" Xiaoling burst into tears and defended in a low voice, "I forgot for a moment. The wound on the lower abdomen was stabbed with a fruit knife at Pei Xian's place some time ago. After returning to Lilei, it healed for a while. The sutures were slowly absorbed, leaving only a small. The scars haven't healed yet." Xiaoling was always lively and active, and when she was standing on the stage, she was more likely to forget herself. The wound had not hurt for a long time, and it did not affect her movements much. She had long forgotten it. It wasn't until I got off the stage yesterday and took a shower at night that I discovered that the wound had opened again. It still hurts. Why didn't you tell the boss? You're still running around in the recording studio after the Sister Meina scolded her. I don't dare. Xiaoling's voice was very soft, he wants to scold me. Sister Maina rolled her eyes at the sky and was impressed by the young couple. It had only been a few days since they reunited, and they were already starting to fight and fight. She understood what Xiaoling meant. She had agreed to give Lilei a lift to the recording studio today. If she had to rest at home temporarily, Lilei would definitely ask what happened. By then, the reopened wound on her lower abdomen would not be covered. Live. This child may not be afraid of being scolded severely. Probably because he was afraid that Lilei would feel distressed. Sister Maina sighed inwardly. Although she wanted to pick her up by the scruff of her neck and throw her home, she still held back. Anyway, if you keep walking for a few more steps, you'll soon arrive at Wei's recording studio. Once you get in, you can rest however you like, whether you're sitting down, lying down, or jumping around to seek your own death. I don't care. Xiaoling drooped her head while being scolded. If she had long ears like a rabbit, her ears would have hung very low at this time. People coming and going in the corridor looked at them and speculated in their hearts. They all said that Ye Xingling abandoned Pei Xian and came back to join the boss because she saw that the emperor was about to go bankrupt. However, it seems that although the boss took her in, he didn't. I don't like it very much. Otherwise, how could Sister Maina train people like a grandson? If Lilei knew what they were thinking, he would definitely cry, Sister Maina, who is not training her grandson. With great difficulty, Xiaoling moved along the long and bright corridor to the elevator in 3 steps. Just as he was about to press the elevator button, suddenly, a person walked towards him, and it turned out to be Su Tang. Today, Su Tang is still elegant. She has a face as white as jade and delicate makeup, and her eyebrows are picturesque. She is really a beautiful woman. When she stood in front of Xiaoling, she restrained her usual arrogance and said to Xiaoling with a bit of politeness, Miss Ye, can you take a step to speak? Assistant Su, do you want to see me? Xiaoling had a stomachache and thought only of going to Wei Shaiyin's office to lie down. Su Tang is just ignorant. There's something, she said, that'll take up a few minutes of your time. With a ding sound, the elevator arrived. If there's anything you need, Assistant Su, just go into the elevator and tell her Sister Maina help Xiaoling get into the elevator. Xiaoling is in a hurry. I'm sorry. She also knew that Xiaoling had a stomachache and was in critical condition, so she didn't allow her. A waste of energy with Su Tang. Although they are both in Tianyi, Su Tang and Sister Mai Na have always been vaguely at odds with each other. Seeing Sister Mai Na like this now, her cold eyes showed displeasure. However, she had something to ask for now, and she couldn't blame anything. She just had to endure the humiliation and get into the elevator. Tell me, what's the matter? Xiaoling was not very polite to her. She had no choice but to have a stomachache. She was too lazy to think of words when her stomach hurt. Su Tang felt as if a tiny thorn had been pierced in her heart. This woman was already married and had children. Why was she so lucky and pampered by the young master like a treasure? No wonder she felt unbalanced, because a few days ago, the young master suddenly asked her to transfer her job because she was disrespectful to Xiaoling. Thinking of this, Su Tang said to Xiaoling, I don't know what you said in front of the young master, but I have followed the young master for so many years and have long been his right-hand man in official matters. Now he is afraid that you won't like it and wants to kill me. Turn away. Do you know how much trouble this will cause him? Xiaoling reacted for a while before she understood what Su Tang was talking about. She blinked. I just mentioned it casually that day. She swore that she was definitely not deliberately planning to do anything to Su Tang. She was unhappy that day and mostly complained. Unexpectedly, Lilei took it seriously. Su Tang would cry if she knew the truth. Sister Maina also understood what was happening next to her. She couldn't bear to look at her. This little girl looked so stupid and confused. Only a few days after she came back, she forced the powerful assistant Su to bow to her and beg for mercy. This is really a skill. Sutang thought she was timid and kept saying, "Trouble you, go and tell the young master and ask him to think twice and not to transfer me. If I transfer, he will be inconvenient in many things. You don't want to see him work harder, do you?" She thought she was pleasant enough. Xiaoling, however, didn't like the tone of her voice very much, as if Li Lei couldn't live without her. Her stomach felt a dull pain again. She clutched her stomach and ouched twice. The elevator arrived at the floor just in time. "Go talk to him yourself about the matter between you and Li Lei," she irresponsibly shied away, "just don't come to trouble me. I'll take the initiative to trouble you when I'm full." She moved out of the elevator door little by little. Sister Maina held her up carefully, not even giving Sutang a look. Sutang stood in the elevator, looking at their backs, gritting his teeth secretly. "Yasin Ling, remember this, the humiliation I suffered today will be repaid 100 times in the future. In addition," her eyes narrowed slightly. Yasingling's walking style was not quite right. "What's wrong?" End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 509. Chapter 509 Lost Weight. Over there, Xiaoling was supported by Sister Mai Na and walked all the way into Wei Shaiyin's recording studio. Wei Shaiyin was still recording music and could not be disturbed. Xiaoling knew his nature well and did not disturb him. She rolled feebly to his lounge and lay there for a long time, then fell asleep on the bed. "Halfway through my sleep, I suddenly felt a little pain on my face." She reached out and touched a hand. Startled, he woke up from his drowsiness. When he looked up, he saw Wei Shaiyin's cold, arrogant, and enlarged face. He was wearing an elegant, white, spotless shirt, with the top button buttoned meticulously. His slender hands were squeezing her cheek so hard that Xiaoling suspected that her skin would turn blue. "Whoa!" She couldn't speak clearly with 2 bags of tears in her eyes. "Let me go." Wei Shaiyin raised her eyebrows slightly, but let her go calmly. "Do you think this is a hotel? You don't say hello when you come, and you just fall asleep." "Xiaoling, isn't it just a hotel? The wound was broken today. Singing was a physical job." She had no intention of recording. She was just afraid that Li Lei would become suspicious and wanted to find a place to stay. "Wei Shaiyin, why don't you speak? Why are you mute?" Xiaoling looked at him weakly. Facing the fire-breathing Tyrannosaurus that was about to explode at any time, she was very cautious. I saw you were recording music, I'm just remixing my old songs. Don't you know how to go to me directly when you come here? Don't you have such a sense of sight?" Producer Weida is used to being sought after by others, and he has a very arrogant temper. Xiaoling is even more aggrieved. He used to mix music so that no one would be disturbed. But he didn't dare to say this in front of Wei Shaiyin. He could only nod his head like pecking at rice. I was wrong. She didn't know that Wei Shaiyin still had the old rules until now. As long as he was working in the studio, no one was allowed to disturb him, even if it was something as trivial as arranging the order of singles. Now, it was because he hadn't seen Xiaoling for a long time and he was too worried about her that he broke this rule. Wei Shaiyin looked at her with half-narrowed eyes. The girl in front of him had just been woken up from the bed by him, and she half sat up. She still looked sleepy. She was a pig. "I can sleep so well in the middle of the day." Wei was going crazy. Looking at her small body with not much body, he was even more crazy. "Li Lei doesn't even feed you well. Why are you still so thin?" Xiaoling looked down at her small body, feeling aggrieved. She had obviously worked very hard to eat, and Lilei also worked very hard to prepare food for her in different ways every day. She had really gained a lot of weight recently. To be honest, it was also because he was so haggard when he was at Pei Xian's side that he still hasn't been raised well after taking care of him for so long. But she couldn't say this to Wei Shaiyin for fear of worrying him. She looked at him and smiled stupidly. "Are you thin?" "I'm still too fat. It won't look good when I shoot the announcement." "You look bad, you idiot." Wei Shaiyin almost wanted to hit her on the head with a piece of music. "Eat honestly. You are a singer. Appearance is not important, you know. If your body is starved, your voice will not be able to sing. Go up, some of you will cry." Xiaoling responded submissively. Wei Shaiyin said again, "Last time you called me and said you were at the front desk and wanted to come to me. Why did I ask someone to give you my pass, but you still didn't come?" He was talking about the time she was turned away by Sutang on the first day she returned to Tianyi. That day, Xiaoling and Sutang had a conflict. After being taken away by Lilei, she actually forgot about Wei Shaiyin. But she thought that if she dared to tell Wei Shaiyin that she had forgotten, Wei Shaiyin would dare to tear her into pieces. After thinking for a while, she said, "That day was so busy, I went to the hospital later." Only then did Wei Shaiyin let her go and asked her why she went to the hospital. Xiaoling had no choice but to explain to him the wound on her abdomen and said, "I sang with Bai Murong yesterday and the wound was a little cracked. Don't tell Lilei that I am here today. I came here to recuperate secretly." Wei Shaiyin's expression became more serious. "Does it matter?" Xiaoling said, "It doesn't matter. Just rest for a day or two and you can catch up with the official performance of Tianlai Music Festival. The official performance of the music festival is in a week, so it's quite late." Wei Shaiyin felt relieved and said to her, "I will help you prepare for the music festival. You have not appeared in the music scene for nearly a year. This time you must make a strong comeback and gain popularity. Wait for the music festival. After it's over, I'll prepare a solo concert for you." After her rebirth, she didn't even hold a concert in the past 3 years. She almost forgot what it was like to have a concert. Now that Wei Shaiyin was talking about it, she felt a little excited, her eyes shining brightly. "Okay. By the way, my main goal this time is to trample Xiaoyu under my feet." "They are not at the same level at all," Wei Shaiyin sneered. "Why are you stepping on her? Lowering your own style for no reason." Xiaoling said, "I have a grudge against her." Thinking of her poor baby, her expression darkened. Wei Shaiyin stopped laughing and tapped the table with her slender fingers. "If you really want to step on her, that's fine. She will participate in this year's arena competition. Just knock her down. Speaking of which, this year, you are in a semi-retired state, and her development momentum is not bad. In the eyes of the public, she is probably qualified to be on an equal footing with you at this point." He couldn't help scolding her, "You are a pig. The popularity you worked so hard to accumulate in the first 2 years was squandered in the last year. You could have used the gimmick of being a rich young lady to increase your worth, but now, you and Pei Xian are divorcing and your good reputation has changed. Got a bad reputation." Xiaoling also felt sad. This is not something she can control. She is extremely lucky to be able to escape from Pei Xian. Who cares whether the wolf is embarrassed or not, whether he has a good reputation or a bad reputation? "Let Xiaoyu be your stepping stone." Wei Shaiyin pointed her slender fingers and made a decision. "You must defeat her severely this time so that others can see the huge gap between you. It's best to defeat her again if you are a king and queen. The outside world's evaluation of your ability will skyrocket like a rocket. So what if they think your private life is chaotic? Your perfect singing skills and controversial emotional world will simply become a legend. The necessary conditions for a queen. When the concert is held, countless people will want to come." Xiaoling was speechless. Daking, her infamous reputation still has some benefits? "It just depends on the hype," Wei Shaiyin said. It's such a simple thing. By the way, Baimurong's team came over and said they wanted to record a chorus version of Meet the Opponent with you. Sister My Na is here. Talk to me, I have agreed to build it for you. End of this chapter. Rebirth of the Entertainment Circle, Return of the Queen. Author, Xia Weiniang. Chapter 510. Chapter 510 Comparing. Xiaoling nodded indifferently. She doesn't sing well with others, mainly because there are very few people who can match her in singing. In fact, the current Baimurong can't do it either, and she still lacks the time to do it. However, she is very optimistic about the White King and wants to help him make another breakthrough, so she agrees. If others knew what she was thinking, they would probably go crazy. After all, it seems that Baimurong, the White King, is much more popular and status than her. Xiaoling asked, Baimurong also agreed that you should be the producer. It's not that she wanted to ask this question, it's really incredible that Baimurong could agree to this. I remember that a long time ago at the Xingyun concert, Baimurong once complained backstage about how picky, harsh, and perverted Wei Shaiyin was, cursing and swearing that she would never fall into his hands again in this life. In fact, this is what most singers say about Wei Shaiyin. The attitude of the producer. Why have you changed your attitude now? Wei Shaiyin raised her chin proudly. Of course they agree. Originally, Baimurong's team was looking for Sister Maina, and Sister Maina was her agent. All she needed was the consent of Sister Maina. Baimurong's team had a good plan, and after Sister Mai Na agreed, they went to find a music producer they were used to working with, and just took Xiaoling to record the song together. Unfortunately, as luck would have it, Wei Shaiyin found out about this. He said that the song Meet Your Opponent in Chess is too vulgar and must be changed. It must be changed severely. If it is not changed, it cannot be sung and Xiaoling's style cannot be lowered. Originally, he was not her manager, and it was not a big deal if he agreed or disagreed. However, he threatened to go on strike for the next song, and finally, Sister Mai Na succumbed to Wei Shaiyin's power. Sister Maina, who had surrendered, used various means to make Baimurong's team also surrender. Anyway, when Baimurong knew about this, he almost cried. Unexpectedly, he had been in the music scene for so many years and was so careful to avoid dealing with Wei Weibo, but in the end he fell into his hands. Xiaoling didn't know all the twists and turns. She nodded and put the matter behind her, and began to concentrate on preparing for the Tianlai Music Festival. All her luggage is at Pei's house. She has no clothes to wear and needs to buy new ones. Li Lei accompanied her to the shopping mall, and the entire mall was closed for stores. She had a great time choosing everything, and matched it with many precious and unique small jewelry. Li Lei kept encouraging her, buy more, buy more. Xiaoling said, my credit cards are all maxed out. She has had almost no income this year, relying on her previous savings. This time she not only squandered all her cash while sweeping the store, she also owed a lot of credit card debt. Fortunately, she is a star, and she married into the Pei family before and became a rich wife. The bank's quota increase for her every year is large enough. Li Xiaoli presented his black card and said with a smile, swipe this. He has the look of a large dog, except for the tail wagging behind him. Xiaoling was in a good mood and reached out to touch his head. Good boy, when I become your wife in the future, I will take your card without you giving it. Your good days are only a few days away, so keep it first. Let's hide more private money. Li Lei's eyes lit up, it's agreed, you will marry me. Well, I'll wait until you finish it, old man. The frightening year of being with Pei Ziyan made her cherish her relationship with Li Lei even more. As long as he married, she would marry without hesitation. Li Lei's expression darkened when he thought of his old man. He was so prejudiced. He didn't know when he would be able to give Xiaoling a legitimate home. He lowered his head and said softly, I've made you suffer. Xiaoling was slightly startled, then realized what he meant, and chuckled, with or without that certificate, we are all together just like her and Pei Zion. It doesn't matter if they have the certificate, what should be divided must be divided, and what should be divided must be divided. No one can stop us together. Not wanting to continue this topic, Xiaoling looked up and saw an ice cream shop across the street. I want to eat ice cream. Her eyes were shining, she grabbed Li Lei's sleeve and jumped twice on the spot. Quick, quick, take me there. Li Lei also followed her line of sight and saw the ice cream shop. You are seeking death, he said, dumbfounded. There are so many people over there. If anyone recognizes you, they will definitely attract onlookers. No matter what, I just want to eat, Xiaoling said coquettishly. Classmate Li Xiaoli's heart almost melted. He looked at his little girlfriend and then at the store. I'll send someone to buy it for you. No matter what, I want to go to the store to eat. Classmate Xiaoling had a pair of eyes watery. Classmate Li Xiaoli was dazed and said dotingly, then I'll send someone to clear the place. No matter what, I want to eat in the crowd. She hadn't been among the crowd for a long time, and she remembered her date with him at the amusement park a long time ago. He held her hand and carefully protected her from being bumped into by the crowd. That feeling. It was so beautiful, it was a precious memory for her life. Li Xiaoli's remaining rationality told him that he could not compromise at this time. Xiaoling was no longer the little star she used to be. During this period, the news often reported on her in endless articles. Whether it was a positive or negative review, her current popularity extremely tall, that face is so recognizable. He tried his best to coax her, I'll buy it for you. I'm going to the store, she said with a small temper and ignored it. I don't care, you protect me. Sneak into the crowd to buy ice cream, wow, it's so exciting. Li Lei. He began to reflect on himself, was he usually too kind to Xiaoling? Why didn't she go to heaven? Xiaoling's child had already taken his hand and started to walk out. Ice cream, ice cream. Off to the side, a straight-lined shop assistant wearing a black and white uniform smiled with his lips pursed. In these high-end flagship stores, we see a lot of celebrities coming and going, but it is rare to find such a loving celebrity couple. It seemed that Ye Xingling was not in a state of embarrassment and went to Li Lei, as the rumors said, and Li Lei took her in because he felt pity for her. Judging from the way they showed affection, it was obvious that Li Lei doted on her and spoiled her. Hunting and dragging, little Xiaoling really dragged Li Lei to the entrance of the ice cream shop. Following them were several bodyguards, some of whom went back with the goods they had swept away from the mall, and others who calmly entered the crowd, vaguely creating a safe space for them. Finally, Xiaoling still remembered to wear sunglasses and a peaked cap, so she didn't cause any big trouble when she rushed into the store. It's just that we didn't cause a big mess. She was wearing sunglasses, but Li Lei was not. Li Lei's beauty index is definitely an instant hit, and he stunned many little girls in the store on the spot. Look, look, that guy is so handsome, the little girls pulled their companions to look at the handsome guy. Many people took out their mobile phones to secretly take pictures, watching the handsome guy gently hugging a petite girl while they bought ice cream at the ordering counter. The picture is so beautiful. Isn't it an idol drama being filmed somewhere? The girls in the shop were excited. Looking left and right, I don't see the camera. Impossible, if it weren't for filming idol dramas, there wouldn't be such handsome people in reality. His girlfriend is pretty, too. Why is she wearing sunglasses? The outline seems a bit familiar. End of this chapter.